Hey!
Happy March!
Thank you, thank you.
We are marching into March. Do you know what March 1st is?
Spring is Sprung Day.
Kind of. March 1st is actually National ReFired Day.
ReFired.
ReFired instead of retired.
Oh my word.
That is an
Explain yourself.
Let me do some explaining there, okay, right. Lucy? ReFired means when you retire, which some of our audience has retired, instead of just, have you ever seen that Willy Wonka? Where all the grandparents are in bed and they stay in bed? Yeah, okay, sometimes maybe that's how we're feeling. It's just like, what are we doing? We want to, and I guess it's a national thing, we want to fire you up. Instead of being retired, you are refired. And what do you think of when you think of getting fired up?
I think of high energy.
You think of high energy. That's what I think of too. So today we are going to concentrate on energy. How do you think we're going to fuel that energy?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure you're going to tell us, and I'm getting out of your way. I'm glad you're doing this this is what, the 2-year month of COVID, and we've all tired of that. So let's get fired up here.
So I'm really excited to talk about this. Remember we talked a few episodes ago about wanting to educate, wanting to get you more in tune with what we're doing. Instead of just making a bunch of recipes like, oh gosh, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? I found this great new, it's pretty new. Maybe you've heard of him. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I call him Dr. Wilby. And some of you will know, remember Dr. Welby? I don't know, yeah, the cameraman's like, who? Okay, anyway, Dr. Welby, he was are you a doctor on TV? Yes, he was. Marcus Welby, MD. Well, I call him Dr. Wilby. Huh. Really cute. Anyway, he wrote this great book called Fiber Fueled. I checked it out at the library. It is one of the best books, and believe me, I've read them all. You know, T. Colin Campbell, Neil Bernard, Esselstyn, Garth Davis. This one I'm so excited about because he talks about the importance of fiber. You know, if you have friends, maybe, because I'm sure you were never on the keto diet, but when you ask them, where do you get your fiber? Basically, they're not eating any fiber. There's even one doctor who I don't necessarily agree with in everything he says, so I'm not going to mention his name, but I did find an article where he said that is one thing definitely lacking in most people's diets is fiber. Even, and I will say this because I have been one before, even a vegan's diet. Because in vegan, you can go ahead and eat all the, Oreo cookies you want. You can eat all, drink all the Diet Dr. Peppers. That's vegan. But when you go whole food plant-based, you are really tapping into the fiber, and that's what's really important. So as part of our ReFired, getting fired up, we're going to concentrate on this Fiber Fuel book, and I'm going to show you what we call energy bites. They have Dr. Wilby has a recipe for energy bites in here. I also found this book. How cute is this? And you know I love play on words like this. Eternity. Cameraman's shaking his head like, okay, this is not funny, but it is cute. It's really cute. Speaking of the cameraman, those of you who've noticed my shirt, WFPB. Now, our dear cameraman, he's been filming us for quite a while now. Don't be shrugging your shoulders. He's thinking, what is that? Like whole fig peanut butter? Is it, he had no clue what it was. Let me just tell you, it is an AC/DC shirt. He did know that for being so young. He actually knew AC/DC, but he didn't know what WFPB meant. And those of you who've taken my class at Sac State, remember, you didn't even get to pass class unless you knew what WFPB meant. And how many of you remember this? I was invited to speak at Sac State, and they had a DJ there, and they were showing the fitness through dance, and they were asking me to do a food demo. So I had this shirt on, and I'm thinking, wait a second, AC/DC? I only know one AC/DC song. So I go up to the DJ, and I say, do you have, and I name the song, and he goes, yeah. I go, can I have the microphone? I know, that's bad. Don't give me a microphone. So I asked for the microphone when the song came on, and I had this AC/DC shirt on. And so I told all my students, I go, okay, you guys, you know me, we're changing the words. So the song starts, it's like, okay, you ready for our line? We're on the highway to health. Everybody, highway to health. Okay, yeah, all right. Cameraman's like, cut. I'm gonna cut that part out. Let's get back to our energy bites, because energy is what we want. We don't want to just be sitting around until we die. We want to be vibrant. We want to have energy. We want to have enthusiasm. There's a reason I can do a full-time job. I live 35 minutes away from the job. I'm there at 6:45. I stay until 4 o'clock. I babysit my grandson on all day Saturday. I come here. I get to hang out with Steve and we talk beans, and I have to inform the cameraman about lingo, all those kind of stuff. It's because I have that energy. And one thing that he said, well, he says a lot of things in here. He talks about the most important thing to fill your microbiome full of energy, and that's DOP. I'm not even going to ask the cameraman if he knows what that one is. Diversity of plants. That's the biggest thing when it comes to creating a healthy gut biome. And he goes all into the biome. Last night at 1 o'clock when I couldn't sleep, I was kind of excited about this talk. I listened to No Meat Athlete, NMA. It's a podcast. And I listened to his. And he did a great way of explaining that plant diversity, the biodiversity that you create in your gut, controls so many other things, autoimmune issues, dementia, all these different kind of things. And he said, and this is where he says in the challenge that he says is to eat 30 different plants per week. That's 30. Now in an upcoming segment, you'll see where I think we hit 15 with what we were doing with the sauce and what we did with the salad. You add beans to anything, boom, you hit another one. And that's what we want to do here, is continue to feed our gut biome with all these healthy plants. Remember, meat, chicken, fish, salmon, ain't got no fiber there, girlfriend. No fiber whatsoever. So we want to add that. So that's why I'm doing the energy bites today. And I'm going to go over the recipe, but this is a base recipe. Steve has the recipe. He'll post it at the bottom of this YouTube. But I brought out all these things not because I used all these things in this particular recipe, but I want to show you. Remember my theme, use what you have. I found this coconut in there. I found this hemp seeds. We could use hemp seeds. I found dried pineapple, which you know I love pineapples, so I put it in there. So let's go over the recipe. The recipe is 1 cup of pitted dates. And these are the dates I used. They were organic. I cut them to take the pit out. Pitted is important. Take the pit out, and I used 1 cup of those. I soaked them 10 minutes in hot water because I wanted them really smooth. So I soaked them. You might not have to, soak your dates if they're really soft already, but I still wanted it really creamy for these energy balls. And then I used 3 tablespoons of nut butter. Use the nut butter that you have. I use sunflower butter because I didn't want to use a regular nut butter. So if you're avoiding nuts, you can use sunflower butter. If you have peanut butter, use that. If you have almond, cashew butter, use that. Don't go out and think you have to buy this. Use what you have. And then I also used a tablespoon of flaxseed, and everyone knows, I think I brought the flaxseed before. It was just a big container of the ground flaxseed. It was Bob's Red Mill. Then I used 2/3 cup of gluten-free oats. Easy, gluten-free oats. You can use whatever oats you have. I used a tablespoon of Chili Smith bean powder. I know you've seen the bean powder many times. We have it here in the store. When he talks about, let me just divert just for a second. When he talks about eating beans, and the whole, one of his talks last night, the podcast that I was listening to, he had a whole segment on why it's important to add beans. And you say, oh yeah, but beans, they give me gas or they make me bloated, whatever. He says your gut biome is just like a muscle. So let's say you haven't used your bicep in quite a while. You're not then going to go to the gym and try to lift 300 pounds. No, you're going to start out small. We'll do 3 pounds. Next week we'll do 5 pounds. Next week we'll do 10 pounds. And that's just what you're going to do with beans. And that's why I think the bean powder is so important. If we had continued to eat beans, and he mentions in the podcast last night that the longest living civilizations are those who not primarily, but who always include beans in their diet. So remember that. Start out small, and then you'll add more, just like Dr. Greger suggests, just like Dr. Furman suggests. Okay, back to our recipe. So then we have a tablespoon of protein powder. Next, vanilla extract. Now, Chef AJ talks a lot about not using vanilla extract because most of it is alcohol based. So I've been using vanilla powder. What a light, fluffy flavor it gives to just cake or these energy bites. You can, if you have vanilla extract, use it up. I want you to use it up. Don't go out and buy vanilla powder, but I think I'm gonna switch over to this. This was something that Chef AJ talked about. All right, so then I mix them all together in the food processor. Again, it works. A food processor is much better than a high-speed blender at this because you've got dates, you've got other things, and you want it to spin like this and not all go down to the bottom. So it's better. That's probably some sort of physics thing. It's better to spin like this than to have the centrifugal force take it down to the bottom. I put everything in the food processor, process it till it was nice and smooth. Now the key with this is, it's really good. I know the last few things I've shown, right, cameraman? They haven't looked that appetizing, but they're very good. Anyway, you have to chill it. So I chilled this first instead of mixing everything together. I chilled it first so that we could put it in little energy bites, and you could see that. So it comes out like this. It's been in the my cooler here, and then you just take a little handful. You just make them, and this would be so fun to do with the grandkids or the kids. Nice little energy bite right here. The coconut here, I toasted the coconut because it makes the kitchen smell great, but it also adds just a nice flavor. I remember when I was a kid, I loved that cookie, not a macaron, the French one, but a macaroon, a coconut macaroon. I love that. So when you toast the coconut, it's got that same sort of flavor. And if you don't want to do that, don't. You can make some just totally plain. You can also roll them in cacao powder. You could also roll them in more bean powder. Roll them in sunflower seeds. Roll them in whatever you want. And just keep rolling, rolling, rolling. Keep those bites of rolling right. Another reference that the cameraman has no clue. It was a television show. Yeah, I know. I need an old cameraman. Yeah, maybe he could bring in his grandfather or something to help with these references. I don't know. Anyway, that's it. Steve, you need some energy?
I need some energy.
Come on.
Here.
All right, try this.
So many good things here. I remember this from...
No, you don't.
Oh, this is different?
This is different. Mm-hmm.
Those people are still begging for it.
I know they are. I want, you know me.
Is it a popper?
It's
you
a
just
popper.
Pop it, the whole thing, you don't take a bite, you just pop it.
Just like a whiskey shot. Like I know whiskey. Yeah, right, huh?
I don't understand that.
Me either. I don't get it either.
Well, Tim will understand.
He'll understand whiskey, yeah. Mm-hmm. Kids will understand whiskey.
Oh. Coconut.
You know what? Pineapple and coconut. Because we like pina coladas. We want to bring you some energy. I hope we did that today. Energize yourself. Remember, you're not retired. You're refired up.
Thanks for watching.
Don't forget to subscribe. We want to see you next time.